Sir, there's somebody coming. Evening, Jim.
Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another review from Fanboys Forever. Today we're going to be having a look at the brand new Batman tech series Riddler from Spin Master. So this is one I've really been looking forward to grabbing for a long while now. Finally found one at Target. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, we can see that the Riddler uses the new Batman tech series packaging. It's very blue. It's a lot more visually striking, I think, than that first year. We can see on the back we just have all the other figures that are out. Found most of them by now, but I have not found this new Batman down here. Or the Bat-Tech Batman, actually. But other than that, I've found the others. Over here, we can see that we have our mystery items. So let's go ahead and crack those open. So let's look at the first one. You can see that the Riddler comes with, yes, looks like his Riddler cane. So it looks like it's kind of in a goldish, orangish kind of plastic. And this one here. Looks like the Riddler has some kind of like laptop or tablet, maybe. So that's kind of interesting. I guess some kind of like a radar dish gun. But, you know, this could be more of a Batman weapon that he just happens to come with, I believe. All right, let's get Mr. E here right out of the packaging. Before we look at the figure, it is also worth noting that you do get one of those mini posters that you get in the other releases. Really like the art on this. It's also interesting that on the back, you no longer get to see all the different versions of the figures that you could possibly get, which makes me think that in this series, I don't know, I guess maybe there's just one version of everything, because I'll be honest, I don't know. Anyway, though, it's a little less clear here. I'm not sure if I like that. It just depends on if there is multiple versions or not. And as you can see, it looks like all the Riddler's rowdy friends have also shown up. It's always a big deal when we get a completely brand new villain, brand new sculpt in the line. And of course, we got those in extreme abundance this past year as Spin Master was looking to establish this line. Based on the leaks that we've seen so far, it doesn't look like there's going to be that level of variety. Instead, we're going to get quite a few reversionings and things this year. But still, there's going to be plenty of interesting new villains. And of course, we can do a video about that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and let's check the Riddler out, though. First off, just looking at the sculpting, I have to say I really, really love what they did. This is an incredibly classical Riddler. There's nothing, none of that tech stuff is on him. Not that I dislike the tech stuff, but, it's just not a part of the design they went for here. It's as traditional a Riddler as you can possibly imagine. It looks like, maybe the Riddler's bowler hat and a suit that he would wear in, say, the 60s series, or, of course, some of the older comics. So let's talk about some of the finer points. First off, looking at the head sculpt here, I love that they have sculpted him smiling. He's grinning. I can't stand it when the Riddler looks a little too serious for some of these sculpts, and I think that they've got it just right. I also like that he's wearing the domino mask. I always think it's a little weird when the Riddler's just wearing the hat and no mask. Really like that. Like that he's got the white eyes. It's a very animated series kind of look, isn't it? With just a little bit like brighter neon colors. You can see that they've opted for the red hair on the Riddler. The Riddler has to be probably one of the most inconsistent characters in comic book history when it comes to hair color. I mean, does he have like carrot orange hair, or does he have black hair? I mean, he's represented both ways constantly. So it's really just, it's up to you, I guess. We can see that we also have lots of good sculpting up here on the hat, which it indeed is sculpting. I like that it's not just a paint hit with the question mark. Of course, the hat's not removable. When you get down to this scale, it's kind of hard to do removable hats without it looking kind of funny. Even the nicest lines have problems with that in 3 3/4 scale. Boss fights seem to have figured out how to do it pretty well. But of course, this is mass retail. Right here with the tie, we also have sculpting with the sculpted on question mark, which I like. And then on the back, it's just a very kind of normal sort of suit. When I was first looking at the sculpting for this figure, I actually thought for sure that they probably reused some of the original Joker's sculpting on the suit because, why wouldn't they? And you know what? I don't think that any of it is, actually. I don't think there's a single piece of reused sculpting. So just as we go through the body, just know that this does appear to be a completely 100% original new sculpt. Even things like the pants are their own sculpt this time. So it's kind of strange that they didn't opt to at least like reuse the Joker's legs. But it does appear to be completely original. Even the coattails back here are different than what we had with the Joker. Let me prove this right here. You can see that there is a little bit of a different shape going on. I do like the standard suit sculpting that we have with the gloves. It actually has almost like, I call them the Mickey Mouse little patches down there. You can also see that buttons are sculpted onto the sleeves, so I like that quite a bit. I really love the detail on the lapel right there and kind of the vest that's under the suit jacket. I like that. I also like how it looks like the suit jacket kind of has some strain on it with a little bit of wrinkles there, as if he's kind of, looks like the Riddler might be a little buff there. He's starting to bust out of the coat. So that's kind of a fun little detail. Moving on down, the pants are as basic as you can imagine. And the Riddler, it appears, is wearing just some slacks or kind of like black slippers of some sort. But nothing really to see there in terms of detail. Looking at the articulation on the Riddler, we can see that the head just goes side to side, as usual. You can see the arms go pretty far up, so that's always good to see on these guys. You can see they go all the way around, of course. We do get a swivel at the elbow, and we also get a 90-degree bend, but there's no double joint. Nothing at the waist. This would have been a good opportunity for it, as the waistcoat could have covered it up. We can also see that he gets a straight up split. We can see that he has a great kick forward. Can't really go back because of the coattails back there. You can see that there is a thigh swivel right there. You do get a single jointed leg, and it pretty well does 90 degrees. And there's nothing at the ankles. So overall, I think the articulation is sufficient and exactly like what we've seen from many of the other basic figures in the line. So let's go ahead and look at accessories. So first off, we have the Riddler's cane right here. And I really like the design that they went for with this thing. It's very bombastic. It's got just a lot of personality to it. And, we've all seen kind of more boring Riddler canes before, and this definitely isn't one of those. It's very stylized, and I like it a lot. I also think that they went for a pretty good tone right here with the plastic that they chose. It is more orange than it is gold, I suppose, but especially here on camera, the way that my light is making it look, it definitely does kind of sell the idea that it's sort of gold-ish. And tell me in the comments below if you got this guy and if he came with different cast accessories, because like I said, I'm just not sure about this Batman tech line, if there is like a bunch of variations or if they're all like more uniform in what you get. I have no clue. Glue. Okay. Anyway, so I like this one a lot. He also comes with a more modern accessory, which I think this is more of like a tablet or something, but it does have like an antenna on it, so maybe he's trying to get some Wi-Fi in there or something. Of course, it has a little handle on the side, so naturally it does fit in either hand. Usually, and they do a great job making sure that they have sculpting in here that holds these handles very securely. And I also like that you can flex it back and forth. So you can have them looking at it this way if you want, have it off to the side like this. So it's a lot of fun just to pose that in different ways and make it look like he's concocting some sort of evil plan, I guess. Also, like I said earlier, this does appear to be a Batman weapon, perhaps, that he just includes. But I do think that you could easily use it as a Riddler weapon because it kind of looks like something maybe like a mind control device because of the antenna on it. So you can see that it goes right in his hand. And it does look very nice with him. So I do think you can sell that as a Riddler weapon pretty easily. So I suppose it's time for a few scale comparisons. So let's check it out. You can see that the standard Joker here is about as normal as it gets in the line. And they're pretty well just right on the same height with each other. Moving up to a slightly larger scale figure, we have something like the Man-Bat here. And the thing about these is that all of these bigger figures are kind of squatted down a little bit. So it's funny, you get kind of the Super Shredder effect from the old like movie star Turtles, from Turtles 2. But still, the Man-Bat does come out taller than he is, especially with the ears. So it's still a very convincing effect, and the knees being squatted over does give the appropriate illusion that he's much larger figure. And something even bigger, like say Bronze Tiger, which really was quite a large figure to be in that basic series. Of course, you get him deluxe as well. And of course, Bane is much larger, almost being a 5-inch scaled figure. And it is the Batman Forever line from Kenner. Of course, these came out when I was just a kid, so this is my actual Riddler from when I was little. But just a fun little comparison. I know it doesn't really mean much, but still. Of course, we can go back to the most recent mass market version of the Riddler. This was from Mattel and their Batman Missions line. Of course, it was a 6-inch scaled line. You can see that Mattel definitely had kind of a revisionist sort of take on the Riddler, kind of, I guess, making him a little more video gamey because he was kind of translucent and things and purple sunglasses. So it was nice to get something a little more classic. Speaking of translucent Riddlers from Mattel, I have something really cool to share with you. I don't know if there's anybody who remembers these guys showing up on eBay just a few times, but there were some Chinese auctions that eventually produced a canceled Riddler figure, and a few people were able to get their hands on him, and I was one. Of course, anybody who knows the history of the channel knows how big of a fans we were of the old Batman Power Attack line. So I had to get my hands on the canceled Batman Power Attack Riddler. And here he is. Definitely not what I would call a traditional version of the Riddler whatsoever, even more far removed from the comics than the Batman Missions version. You know, once again, it has that translucent kind of green plastic, and I always thought it was a really interesting, very fun look for the character, and certainly a shame that it got canceled. And I suppose it would be a little silly not to do a straight-up Batman comparison. And here he is. Of course, Batman is a little taller than the Riddler, as he ought to be. And I suppose that'll do it for our special look at the Riddler from Spin Master. I know that it's not one of the more exciting designs in the line, and it's certainly very basic, and it essentially amounts to just a guy in a green suit with a hat. But I do think that this is the version of the Riddler that kids want, and I certainly think it's the version that adult collectors would like. And it's certainly the outfit that most adult collectors, I think, would know the Riddler in. So I am glad to see a very traditional take on the character. I definitely suggest that you pick him up if you see him out. You know how this goes. There's always a few less villains in a case than there are Batman variants and all that. Anyway, guys, I suppose that will do it for me. I sure do thank you for watching the review today. Of course, make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the bell icon for all notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. There'll be many more reviews for Spin Master Batman figures, and of course, all sorts of other Batman and comic book-based figures, and just anything we think is neat here on the channel. Remember, we can't do the channel without you and your support, so it is very much appreciated. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, be safe out there, God bless you and yours, and I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out.